Hi, I'm Tracy Kilgore. I'm your host of Neuro Neutral. This is my co-host, Julie Olson. We are going to dive deep into all things ADHD with our very special guest, Lance Bush.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for having me.
Lance, yes,
thank you.
We're glad to have you.
Thank you.
I would love it if you would share just a little background of yourself.
Okay.
Lance actually has a very exciting story.
Phew.
Some negative for him, but actually he's turned them all into a positive. So I love that about this person.
What's exciting about this is Tracy was the one that brought in our guest today, and they literally met yesterday.
We did.
It's true.
We did. Sometimes the universe just align things.
That's right.
You know?
It's the universe. I also like to coin it as, ADHD vibes.
I swear by it too. Literally, it's like a magnetic thing that happens. I think because we're on the same vibrational level.
That's for sure. Oh,
and we're
for
exploring
sure.
Our nervous systems are all the same
thing. Like he's a grower. I can see it in you. Like he's a change maker. I called you that earlier today.
You did. Yep.
So
change maker. I get the sense of creator.
Creator. I do. Creator. I don't like to use the word fix.
No.
But I do fix. Things that evolve.
Transform.
Evolve, transform, yeah.
Exactly, transform. Transformative.
Reconstruct. We reconstruct a little bit, of things of our past. And
Like
we
create,
make it better.
recreate. Words are so important to me now.
Oh, they have to be.
Yes. So I used to think of failure, and I haven't even let you introduce yourself, but this is kind of how this...
Keep going.
See, this is how it is. I mean, this is how it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
So the word failure used to mean something really negative to me. And now I changed it into I know everybody's probably heard this, but first attempt in learning. So FAIL. So actually it's just a space to check yourself. Look at what happened, see what you can do better, see what you can do differently to create something or the actual goal that you're, intending in the first place.
Yeah.
So it doesn't mean it doesn't hurt anymore. Where you used to hear you're a failure. Yeah. Well, thanks, I'm learning.
Yeah, that's something, and especially in the last 3 years, and I've really came to understand that a lot of the things I was growing up with and the way I was supposed to be were not in tune with the way my lifestyle went, and learning and listening, and now with my daughters, and I have 4, and my youngest one, I give her this information all the time. Give yourself space and grace. Everybody expects to go into a situation, and if it isn't perfect, then we take it hard, we take it in, it hurts ourselves, we get all in our hearts about it, when really we're just learning. It's if you keep repeating that mistake over and over again, maybe you can start seeing failure, but we learn, and we've got to give ourselves space. A lot of people with ADHD, it's about, okay, maybe you learn a little bit differently. Well, there's things I can see and do and feel that other people are like, how did you know that happened? Well, they don't have the qualities of ADHD, which I call them.
I love it.
You know what I mean?
I was thinking the gifts of ADHD, but I'm but it's so true.
It is.
I'm so glad you were mentioning this because it's so hard to describe to others how I feel I can sense things differently that then gives me a different form of communication of whatever is happening.
You can see, feel, hear energy, sound, things, light, things become more sensitive in the science. Everybody's different. They started putting titles on us a long time ago. I think it was 8 when they started diagnosing this stuff with me and that. And I read differently, and I learned differently. But my dad owned radio stations, so he taught me frequencies and vibrations.
Ooh, I love that.
So I've learned frequencies and vibrations my whole life, and I've had these gifts my whole life where I can tell in a room who needs a hug, who I need to stay away from, who this and that, just by walking in and just taking a second to take in the energy of that room. And my family, my friends that don't have ADHD, they can't do this. This is something that I believe you have to be able to do 5 things at once. You know what I mean? And harness it. So, I don't know, ADHD to me is...
Do you think that's why we like music?
Yeah.
Because there's so many sounds going all at once.
So music is
you know what I mean? Because we were talking about managing all those different things.
A rhythmic system in your brain, Måneskin especially. So we're gonna have to turn you on to that so you can actually listen because it's the one that I've stayed tight with.
We need to learn how to use this screen.
I know, right?
So then we can just play music
But it will literally create like a rhythm in my brain so I can focus and keep moving forward. Because sometimes I'll go into that paralysis mode, which I'm sure you all experienced many times. But the
2 hours
music
ago.
can
Every day. I was gonna say this morning. I was just
For real, like it happens.
every day.
Yep.
It is, but it's about pushing through it and just not worrying about these little past things. Like that's my thing this year. Not worrying about the past, just looking forward, right?
I love
a
that.
restart, a reset. Give yourself that reset after every situation. Every
When did you
morning.
start to understand that? At like what age?
18.
Oh, wow.
18.
That's early.
18. I was taught meditation. I
What?
was.
He said he was starting to get diagnosed with this when you
When
were
I was
8.
eight.
So there's time.
So there's been.
I was
there
3, but this guy got a lot. I'm so impressed with who introduced you to all of that.
All of that. Well, a guy named Gary, and he came into a group that I was a part of, and he taught us meditation.
Wow.
Because I was raised in the radio business, and I was going way too fast, and
And
I was
consistently
trying to-
having noise.
yeah,
Sound,
noise and
listening,
sound and
conversations.
everything.
Yes.
And he sits us down. We go in a room and we lay down and we meditate. And I could feel the energy move through me. He taught me how to take the feeling, take whatever that thought is. A lot of people force themselves into meditation, and it's about seeing whatever that thought is, accepting it, breathing it in, releasing it, whatever it is it's going to be, until you get into that state where it can be a few minute meditation or that. But I learned a long time ago, because the medications I was told, they didn't work. They did the opposite for me. So I didn't like the way they made me feel. So I just went, let's just go unhinged and see what life's like. And yeah, my life's been very different. I went to my 30-year reunion, and everybody was like, you've had such a different life. And I'm like, well, the ones that are saying that, they don't have the same interpretations I do of life. They don't see things the same way I do. We can go to the store, and they can go to the store, and I'm like, I went to this market, and it was lovely, and it was beautiful, and it was exuberant. And I just think that we see things broader and bigger than
Bigger
most people.
picture.
I agree with you.
The different
100%.
connections, purpose, reason. I feel like that goes into, at least for me, the broader picture.
For sure. Like I always say, I can see beauty in every single human being.
Yes.
And I mean that, even if you're maybe a person who's committed some crimes or been in a gang or done other things. Like, I'm not going to get too in depth there. But all of us have something beautiful inside. And usually there's so many layers over the top of it because of trauma and things like that, that they're not exposed anymore. But I do know it's in there in every single one of us. And I think that also is like kind of goes along with the ADHD thing, because the way we look at things, our perception of everything and the whole space of possibility for me is how I pretty much do everything in life now. So there is no. It's just not maybe right now, but there is no for anything. We can keep looking, keep exploring, keep discovering, and creating different things, especially in the world of ADHD, so that we don't have to sit here and take the whole, yes, we have a disability, so we can't do things.
Yeah, and I honestly don't like the word disability.
I hate it.
I think I'm a freaking superhero, to be honest with you. Like, I raised 4 daughters. I've been through hell and back and figured it out and stayed there. I really honestly think that it's a superpower. I honestly do. And now I did some work in my daughter's school a few years back. We did this program where the dads would go there for a day, and I did it 3 times a month.
That's
and
fun.
Loved it.
That's so
It
fun.
was awesome. It was awesome. And when I talked to the teachers, I was seeing more kids have this ADHD ability than don't. And it's becoming more. And now we have a generation that's coming up of kids where a lot of our parents didn't party, didn't do things. Well, now the generation of the kids that did party and that are coming in, and the ADHD and medications and all this stuff. It's so crazy.
Let's talk about that, because I am in the generation where I have a lot of my friends have younger kids or they're toddlers. I know this may ruffle some listeners here, but this is what's really hard is those patterns that I would say my generation is doing for the younger generation, in some ways, wouldn't you feel like that's worsening if it's if I have ADHD and that transitions to my child with ADHD and I were to practice those habits, you know, that I personally feel, there's no science or anything, but I just personally feel like that would affect them, because the more and more I'm learning about ADHD, I'm realizing that it's truly, at least for me, it's learning how to manage and hone into my nervous system. And when we talk about frequencies and waves and my connection to music and beats and colors and feeling, and then now you're introducing that to the younger generation, the spamming of constant noise, constant television, constant music, constant phones. Conversations, constant phones, constant stimulation.
It's taxing.
It's the main thing of stimulation. So when you come out of that, and that's the norm, but if someone where that is not the norm for them, and all of a sudden they get exposed to that, it comes overwhelming. It
does.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, do you?
Yeah, as a parent,
I don't even know what question I'm asking, but like,
I know
do
what
you
you're saying.
do you like hear like what I'm trying to insinuate?
I do. And having children and seeing, you know, and this is one of those space things. You know, my children all have some kind of ADHD in some way, shape, or form. It does get passed down, and from my first daughter to my last daughter, I evolved as a parent too, by changing and teaching my daughters, because for so long before I got cancer, I was not about pills. I was not about medication. I was about the natural way and all of this, because all of the medications the doctors gave me messed me up. So I pushed a balance of medications with my daughters. You know what I mean? And I've got my youngest right now, and she's figuring out, you know, how to deal with her. She's getting straight A's. She's going to beauty school. She's top of her class. She's figured it out because we've given her the space to be and say, okay, you're not going to have a good day today. All right, just don't have a good day. You don't have to be a jerk, but let's just hold you. Let's take care of you. Let me help. You need a little extra help with something? Then let me just do this.
Oh my gosh.
I have to compliment you as a parent. This is huge, and
Makes
it's
me wanna
something
cry.
that's very hard to do because of what everyone else is saying.
Yes.
So I was just sharing with I'm not going to say any names. So with someone who has a child who is ADHD and has additional diagnoses, but I'm not going to mention those either because, anyway. So I had told her, I said, if I had the opportunity to parent, I think, a child of that nature, where her behavior in teen years is becoming very hard to manage, I would do exactly like what you're saying, whereas you allow them to do what it is that they do and process that way and then assist them with it, because I did not get that. I got, shut up, you talk too much, you're stupid, you know, you don't understand anything, you never listen to what I say, you're whatever. Like all these negative things. And after a while, that builds up, and guess what? You shrink into this corner and you almost don't exist. Like you don't want to talk, you don't want to share. At least that's what happened with me.
Oh, I get it. I don't have brothers. I have brothers and sisters. I was adopted, but I have brothers and sisters I'm not close with, because I felt that feeling. And that's why, as I was developing as a parent and a man at the same time,
Yes.
it dawned on me. It dawned on me, especially right when I got diagnosed. Okay,
And
how
you,
could
and
I
you
have
got
done
di-
things
and you got
different?
diagnosed when?
I got diagnosed 4 years ago.
4 years ago?
2 years since my last chemo. 3 years. 2 years. Chemo took my memory. So let me tell you what happens when you add ADHD
did we
to chemo.
explain that? Okay.
Oh my goodness.
But for our listeners, so
I don't think I've ever met anyone like
back
you.
a little bit. So you were diagnosed with cancer.
Stage 3 colon cancer.
Yes. So I'm like so happy for you
Thank you.
that you
Me too.
survived this, and now that you're sharing
Seriously,
your story here with
congratulations
us.
to your cells and body.
Yeah, right. For real. They're coming back. My hair's coming back.
Yes.
But yeah, no. I realized with my daughters that it was important, because I was always told, do it this way or you're wrong. You know what I mean? I had good parents. My parents were great. But I wanted to be able to try to give my kids a little bit more space, especially my younger two. You know, my ex-wife and I are great friends, and we wanted to make sure that we gave them the love that we both have for them and each other.
Seriously.
But just in a good way, and to show people that you can do things the right way. Kids aren't weapons. I teach my kids never use love as a weapon. People with ADHD, I know with people you can shoot me and it won't hurt as bad as if you use love as a weapon with me, because ADHD, I feel more sensitive, more aware, more in tune, more all of it. But that's just what it is. That's why I call it a superpower. And that's why I try to teach my kids is you just need to learn how to harness it, because I was able to have these businesses and have the kids and do all these things and keep up with 4 kids. Now that I'm empty nesting, I don't know what to do with myself. I barely take care of myself. You know what I mean? But with the ADHD and the kids, it just giving them space.
Yes.
Not just added pressure. Like, I'm not going to wake up tomorrow with the same intensity about something that happened yesterday or more, like other people do, because that you're transferring that energy and it just gets bigger and bigger. And people like us, it doesn't go away. I'm not built to where someone could just hurt my feelings and then 5 minutes later we're cool and I'm good. It hurts me for a minute. Like, I got to take it in. It's got to go through here, through my stomach. It's got to go through my soul before I can come back to it. But it's about giving space, I think.
I feel like he's talking about, I feel like he's talking about me yesterday. Like, there's just so much that was going on.
Well, I think I learned how to process emotions probably in my mid-30s. And that is exactly what you're talking about, like allowing myself to feel, to validate myself, to decide what can I do with this problem, do it, and then when the parts that I can't do anything with is where you consciously have to go, I gotta let that go.
Yes.
I can't actually affect it with those things, but this is what I can do. And there's something that happens when you allow yourself to go through that entire process where it doesn't stick in your body and you literally can like just put it where it needs to be, which is...
I will say, as you do go through that process, there are times, at least in my mind, where I'm second guessing myself, like, maybe I shouldn't just allow that. Maybe I should respond to this. Maybe I should be reactive to whatever just happened, versus then sitting with it, again, feeling it, understanding it, and
going
just kind of letting it to go.
Getting out ahead
Yes.
is big. That transferred, like, through meditation. Like, I know... And I was taught a long time ago, go with that first feeling that you have. Like, if you feel like you're supposed to help that lady with the groceries, you go help that lady with the groceries.
I do that every day.
And if I second guess it, I know I went from heart to head. So that's when I think, okay, I love that. My first response was I was going to do it this way. Then I thought this, okay, well, let me look at what was that first feeling? And then I try to lean into that feeling and try to get out of here, because this is not fun. Sometimes getting trapped up there. But
Yes.
Yeah, I try to.
No, that's key, I believe. But identifying, am I in my heart or my head? When you're first starting that,
When you're first starting
it's still sometimes it's hard for me.
Well, I feel like that's one of the first steps and phases that you have to understand when learning how to meditate is those differences, because there's a lot of thoughts and things going in your mind that if you're not learning how to meditate or starting on that journey and all of a sudden you meditate, it's like it will be hard to decipher what words are what phrases or what voices or what. Is that your body saying it? Is that your heart saying it? Is it your spirit saying it to you? Like, and even if it's any of those, like, do you give sanction to that? And again, I find that that's so beautiful that you took time to allow your children to have those spaces and that they had that safety with you.
I agree.
It makes me happy that these cycles are starting to change with others.
Yeah, I try. That's big. My dad told me, he said, son, before he died, he's like, you're supposed to be the next generation of me. So take my good, take my faults.
Oh my gosh.
Get rid of the faults. Become more compassionate, become more loving, become more aware, become more this and that.
Yeah.
And he said, you've got to be my 2.0. So, and that's what I'm trying to become. I mean, my dad was very famous person.
How about
but
I am?
I am my father, actually. It's really
No,
wild.
you're you, but you're 2.0.
Yeah.